Good day everyone, I am Jodelyn M. Pabalati, and for today, I'll be discussing the parts of the stage. So these are the parts of the stage. The first one is the crossover, next is the upstage, and then the acting or the playing area, and then the downstage, next is the apron, and then the house or the audience, where the audience plays. Next is the stage left and the stage right. Then the off wings left and the off wings right. And then the house right and the house left. Now let's discuss the stage components. So the first stage components is the apron, the area of the stage in front of the proscenium arc, typically not used as a performance space. So it is a free space, but the performer that does not use this space. It is like extra space in the proscenium kind of stage. Okay, now let's proceed to the backstage. Backstage is the areas of the theater adjacent to the stage, accessible only to performers and technicians, including the wings, crossover, and the dressing room. So typically, this refers to areas directly accessible from the stage and does not include spaces such as the control booth or the orchestra pit. The backstage, it is where our performers usually change their costumes, or which is not accessible or audience cannot see. Next is the crossover. The crossover is the area used by performers and the technicians to travel from stage left to right out of the sight of the audience and on stage, created with masking and drapery. So crossover, it is usually where the performers travel, example from back of the stage from the left to the right, which is not accessible for the audience eyes. Next is the proscenium. Proscenium is the portal that divides the audience from the stage. So literally, it has a boundary for the audience and the performers. Now, let's proceed to the prompt corner area, to just one side of the proscenium, where the stage manager stands to cue the show and the prompt performers. So it's either the director, it is a place of the director to give cues or to give signal that performer should start the program or should start performing in the stage. So it is not also accessible for the audience or other technical team. No one can see that area, but only the performers. It is adjacent to the performers so that they can see it. Next is the rake. So a rake is a slope in the performance area or space or stage that is rising away from the audience. Example, it is a slope like, typically it is higher that audience can see it. Next is wings, areas that are part of a stage deck but off stage, out of the sight of the audience. The wings are typically masked like or with legs. The wing space is used for performers preparing to enter, storage of set for scenery changes, and as a stagehand work area. Wings also contain technical equipment such as the fly system. So to those who can see the stage in our campus, there are left wing and right wings where the performers enter or where they hide their other props or small props in times that there is a quick change of costume, quick change of any of their props. Okay, now let's go to the performance area. So stage directions or stage positions in order to keep track of how performers and set pieces more around the space. The stage is divided up to sections oriented based on the performer's perspective to the audience. So it is important that we consider our audience so that we can literally see what was the result of our hard work during the practice or during any rehearsals. So movement is choreographed by blocking, which is organized movement on stage created by the director to synchronize the actor's movement on stage in order to use this position. So as you can observe on our previous performances, we have few hours of blocking so that we can minimize and maximize the spaces on the stage so that we can familiarize where we should stand, where we should place our extra props, our costumes during our performance. So blocking is also important so that the performers as well as the director can give some adjustment to his performers. Now here are the some sections of the stage or the performance area. So number 1 or first, the upstage which is divided into right center, up center, left center, and left. So these are the upstage. Next is the center stage. Center stage is divided into right center, left center, and left. Lastly, we have the downstage, which is slightly close to the audience. It is divided into right center or right center downstage, down center, left center, and left. Okay. Now, let's proceed to the types of stage. First, we have the upstage, the area of the stage farthest from the audience. So, as we discussed earlier, if you can remember the slope, so slope is usually placed on the upstage area or the rake. So rake, it is rising away from the audience. Next is the downstage. So the downstage is the area of the stage closest to the audience. It is not just slightly close but closest to the audience. Next is the stage left, the area of the stage to the performer's left when facing downstage. So when the performers are facing the audience, it is their left, so it is the stage left, but the stage left of the audience was their right. Next is the stage right. Adjacent to that is the area of the stage to the performer's right when facing downstage. So if the stage right is the performer's right, then it is the audience left. Next is the center stage. The center stage of the playing or the performance area, it is usually where the performance happen, so that everyone can see the performers. Usually performers maximize the center stage. As you can observe in our previous performance, again, Survey would always tell us to place on the center so that it is easily accessible for the judges and it is not that bad to see our performance. Next is the center line. So center line is an imaginary line, reference line on the playing area that indicates the exact center of the stage, traveling from up to stage. So the center line, usually we would say find the center so that there is a balance, and of course we can say creativity on our performance when everything is balanced. Next is on stage, the portion of the playing area visible to the audience. So, where audience can literally see us when performers, or also us when we are performing, can see that audience can literally see us. Next is the offstage, the area surrounding the playing space, not visible to the audience. Typically, this refers to the spaces accessible to the performers but not the audience. Literally, such as the wings, the crossovers, and the VOMs. Note that for non-proscenium performance spaces, typically one direction is arbitrarily denoted as downstage, and all other direction refers that point. So, offstage, it is usually our props again, our other paraphernalia for performance are placed that audience cannot see, so that our performance would still look beautiful. Now, what is backstage or offstage? So, backstage or offstage are the areas of a theater that are not part of the house or stage are considered part of the backstage. These areas includes dressing rooms, green rooms, offstage areas or the wings, crossover against the fly rails or the line sets, dimmer rooms, shops, and the storage room. So these are the part of the theater that are in the place at the back of the stage that no one can see it, or even the audience can recognize it. What is a dressing room? So I think all of us are familiar to dressing rooms. So dressing rooms where cast member apply wigs, makeup, and change into their costumes depending on the size of the theater. They may be only a male and a female dressing room, but in some cases, in one team, there is only one dressing room. It depends on the space. Next is the green rooms. The green room is the lounge backstage. This is the room where actors and the performers wait in when they are not needed on stage or in their dressing rooms. So sometimes dressing rooms and green room are the same, but green room, always remember that green room is where the performer wait before they proceed to the stage. Next is the crossover. A crossover is a hallway, room, or catwalk designed to allow actors in a theater to move from wings on one side of a stage to wings on the other side without being seen by the audience. Sometimes this is built as a part of the theater. Sometimes exiting the building is required, and still other times the set includes a false wall to create a temporary crossover, a trap room, orchestra pit, or even the front of the house can be used as the crossovers. As long as the audience can see the performers crossing on the back of the wall or any spaces that is put at the back of the wall to travel from one side to another side of the stage, it is a crossover. Next is the fly system. So a fly system is a system of ropes, counterweights, pulleys, and other such tools designed to allow a technical crew to quickly move set pieces. Example, the lights and the microphone, and on and off stage quickly by flying them in from a large opening above the stage known as a fly tower or a fly space. So in some cases, some of the technical team, to creatively give some of their paraphernalia, they use this fly system so that no need for other person or no need for extra time to give those paraphernalia to the performers. Also, this note that they have noted here the rope. So some of the performers, there are other cases that they have extra performance, like tying themselves on the cloth or ropes, or acting like flying. So these are the use of the counterweights, also the pulley, so that technical teams can easily pull them. Earlier, I have mentioned the catwalk. So what is a catwalk? So a catwalk is an elevated platform from which any of the technical functions of a theater, such as lighting and sound, may be manipulated. So it is here. Next is the dimmer room. The dimmer room, or the room backstage, which contains the dimmer racks which power the lighting and rig in the theater. Often, dimmer racks may not be housed in dedicated room. Instead, they may be in a mechanical room, control room, or catwalk, or even on the side of the stage, as is often the case on Broadway, touring shows, or at corporate events. When the dimmers are stored on stage, this area of the stage is known as the dimmer beach. So it is the dimmer room where the lightning or the house may not be housed in the dedicated room. Instead, they may be mechanical, or the control booth, or the catwalk, the same as the catwalk, where the light and sounds are manipulated. Next is the shops and storage area. Depending on the space available, a theater may have its own storage area for old, scenic, and costume elements, as well as lighting and sound equipment. The theater may also include its own scenic, costume, and sound shops. In these shops, each element of the show is constructed and prepared for each production. So shops and storage room can be seen to bigger theater house. Next is the call board. Literally, a backstage bulletin board which contains information about a theatrical production, including contact sheets, schedules, rehearsal time, changes. So any green board or simple bulletin board can be called as call board, where your information can be seen. Next is the trap room. A large open space under the stage of many large theaters. The trap room allows the stage floor to be leveled, extra electrical equipment to be attached, and most importantly, the placement of trap doors onto the stage. It is usually unfinished and often double as a storage area. It is often also used as a substitute for crossover. So it is for bigger theater rooms. Now let's go to the theater drapes and stage curtains. So the first, these are the theater drapes and the stage curtains. So we have the front curtain, which is variously called as a grand drape. So act curtain, house drape, main rug, or in the UK, tabs, hangs downstage just behind the proscenium arch. So it is behind the proscenium arch where it opens directly. It is slightly close to the audience. It is typically open and closed during performances to reveal or conceal the stage and scenery from the audience. So here are the legs, borders, and the tab. So at the back is the backdrop. It is not backdraft but backdrop. Next is the borders. Then the upper side, that is the border. So at the lower side is called the legs. And then we have the grand drape, the legs, and then the teaser. So what is legs? Legs are tall, narrow stage drapes that are used to mask the wings on the other side of the stage. So it covers the wings on the other side of the stage. So that is the legs, the lower part. Next is the borders. These are wide, short draperies that span the width of the stage. These are used to mask lights and scenery that have been raised into the fly loft. Legs and borders are typically made from a heavy, light-absorbing material similar to that of other stage drapes. Typically, a set of 2 legs, one on each side of the stage, and one border is used to form a complete masking frame around the stage. Several such sets of legs and borders are typically employed at varying distances upstage from the proscenium. So, legs and borders vary from the kind or a type of stage. Now, let's go to the tabs. These are drapes that hang at the sides of the stage, perpendicular to the proscenium, opening to mask the wings as shown in the drawing on the top page. So, what I have shown you earlier, the tabs. Next is a scrim. It is sometimes gauze. Is a curtain made of an open weave fabric that appears opaque when lit from the front, but transparent when a person or object behind the curtain is lit. Next, we have the backdrop. Or consider it as a cloth. It is painted curtain that hangs in the back of the stage to indicate a scenery. It's either a garden or a forest, anything. Often this would include an urban scene, a nature, or a garden, as I said earlier, and a domestic interior. Drops may be hung by various means. It depends on the kind of play. Next is the cyclorama, or the cyc is a large white curtain, often concave at the back of the stage, that can be lit to represent the sky or other backgrounds with projected scenery. Cycs and scrims may be used as drops by employing either front or rear projection. So it is slightly light white curtain. Okay, it is the end of my discussion. I hope you learned something. Once again, good day and thank you.